And good afternoon and welcome to this Wednesday edition of Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. I'm Frank Granito, and joining me in the studio today is the New Canaan Advertiser sports editor, Dave Stewart. Dave, thanks for taking time out of your day.
Hey Frank, got to say congratulations and welcome aboard. It's the first time here with you. It's going to be a good time.
Thank you very much. Excited to have you along. We've got a lot on the docket for today. We're going to take a look back at the Under Armour All-American game from this past weekend. We will preview the Grip It and Rip It tournament, which the HAN Network will be covering this Friday and Saturday, as defensive coordinator and co-founder Chris Silvestri from New Canaan High School will join us. But first, we start with a much more controversial topic in football. Yesterday on the Players Tribune, Derek Jeter's website, former Massac and UConn quarterback Casey Cochran posted an article, Dave, titled 13 Concussions. It was a very powerful article talking about his career from age 11 through age 20, suffering 13 concussions, and at times it was tough to read. Yeah, it's
really tragic. It's a hot topic now too with concussions and just they're really learning the long-term effects of everything. And for a kid that is very young at this point to have been through 13 concussions like that, I mean, it's just amazing that he's able to function as well as he was on the field.
And a tremendous player, former Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Connecticut as a junior. He won several state championships with both New London and Massac. He talks in this article, for those who haven't read it yet, of suffering as many as 3 concussions in 1 week in high school. His earliest one at age 11. His last one came back on August 14th at Rensselaer Field against BYU in the season opener, when he had just been named the starter for UConn. And at only the age of 22 now, he's already suffering from CTE-like symptoms.
Yeah, and that's obviously that's a lifetime thing. This isn't something you can just turn around and really get rid of, so to speak. For him to have three in such a short period of time like that, and makes you, they're putting in more safeguards now, and I think the kids are better protected, but they're never going to eliminate it totally, but they can do their best at controlling it. But you just hope that Casey's able to, get on with things.
And it's a good point that you bring up, and where I want to transition to next is, where are we at a state right now in football? When you think about how violent the game is by the time you get to the professional level, how many players in different levels of college there are, the amount of players in high school. And as much as high schoolers, colleges are trying to do to improve the recognition, the awareness, to properly educate coaches, is there ever going to be enough that they can do?
I don't know that they can eliminate it totally. I think that there are things they can do to help protect people, too, especially in the recovery phase too. It's in the past, it was like a who's the tough guy thing, and go back out there, and no matter how you felt, you just kept playing, and it was kind of a macho thing. And now there's more awareness about it, and I think the recovery time they have for it, is I believe it's 2 weeks that you're required to sit out. That's a minimum even for a mild concussion. I think those types of safeguards help in the long run and help for long-term health.
And it's a good point. Casey talks about in the article, he says how he would suffer concussion, he would know it, feel it himself, but he would automatically think, I have to get up. I can't stay down here. I can't let people down because there's all that pressure on you, which is very tough on young athletes, especially those in high school who think that the whole world is counting on them at this moment if they're one of their top players.
Yeah, well, it's the football culture kind of that always was the way. And we were talking before the show about the New Canaan youth football camp today and how hot it is on the turf, and that's another effect. That's the heat related issues. They're a little more aware of things and don't push. They make sure the kids have enough water and they're drinking water and they're not pushing themselves too hard. But that's always been part of the football culture, is just go no matter how you feel. And I think that's changing a little bit.
You're right, and I did check right here. It is from your last symptom exerted. So if you come off the field one day and you have a headache, even if you had just had a headache when you went to school, you come off the field and tell the trainer, it is a 2-week period that you have to sit out from your last symptom. So it is nice, and it's important to see these steps being taken to push the game in the right direction, because all too often, and while I don't think this will ever be a case, the debate of whether or not football is going to exist in 30 years is becoming very relevant, and it's
Yes,
scary for guys like us, other sports editors with this network who truly love the game and see the beauty of it, but we're teetering a dangerous line now.
Well, if you're a parent and you're reading about all this stuff and you have a young kid and he has a choice between he has a choice between playing soccer or football or heading to some other sport, you hear all this stuff about concussions. It might not stop you from playing, but it's going to make you think a little bit more. It's going to make you a little bit more nervous. But I do think that recovery time is where they've advanced the most on this, and because once you have a concussion, immediately after, that's when you're the most susceptible to have another one and to have long-term damage. And that's something that's changed, and they've done a good job with that.
And it's an unbelievable article. If you have not seen it yet, it is on the Players Tribune. That's Derek Jeter's website. You can go to theplayerstribune.com and read the full article by Casey Cochran. We hope to have more on this story in the coming week. We hope we can get in touch with Casey and maybe have him come down and offer some input. But it is a scary issue that's plaguing one of America's great games, and we hope we can continue to see it improve from a recovery standpoint. We'll take a quick break here on Nutmeg Sports, and when we return, we'll switch over to lacrosse and talk about the 11th annual Under Armour All-America Lacrosse game here on the HAN Network.
For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. My property taxes on my single-family home were close to $20,000 a year. Now that I've downsized and I'm in a townhome, and because of the condo tax laws, my fees have gone from $20,000 down to about $5,300 with the star exemption. There is no other townhome that compares in the area. This is where I want to be.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
I'm Denise DiGregoli, the host of The Drive on the HAN Network. Join me Tuesdays for some motivational, intelligent talk with a little humor as we visit with people who live their lives mindfully. Tune in to The Drive live on Tuesdays, 12:30, here on the HAN Network.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
And we welcome you back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Frank Granito and Dave Stewart coming to you live from the studio here on this Wednesday afternoon. Dave, we turn our attention over to lacrosse now. Down at Townsend University, Johnny Unitas Stadium this past Saturday night, the 11th annual Under Armour All-American Lacrosse game, the North versus the South. For the 6th year in a row, the South comes out victorious, 23-16. But we had a couple local boys playing for that North squad. Let's talk about them first, because a couple of them had great games.
Well, yeah, of course, from New Canaan, we had Michael Kraus, a graduate of 2015, going to the Taft School this past year. We also had David Strupp, recent graduates David Strupp and Kyle Smith. From Darien, of course, you had Mark Ivanchik and Will Perry from Greenwich. 5 just awesome players, great players in a big game, and it was fun to watch. And on ESPN, you see some of the highlights of these guys playing, and just all the guys on the South and the North team. It was just, some of the play was just incredible there, and it's just fantastic lacrosse to watch if you're a fan of the game.
And the game featured 44 players total, 22 on both sides. You had 23 All-American players. Every player on the roster is going to a D1 program, and a very storied program. But I thought it was awesome. You saw Kyle Smith comes out, has a hat trick in that game. after struggling a little bit at times during the season. It was really nice to see him cap off his high school career with that kind of a performance.
You know, of course, he's going to play for Bill Tierney over at Denver, and you know, they doesn't get better at coaching than that, you know, out in Denver. So it'll be fun.
And he's got his work cut out for him out there, but we expect big things from Kyle. Will Perry from Greenwich, the attackman, who really had a phenomenal season on a Greenwich team that many thought underachieved. He comes out, scores twice, had a very good game. Michael Kraus, he doesn't have the best game after you look at him scoring 57 goals this year for Taft, but he has production out there. Mark Ivanchuk and David Strupp, they're unsung heroes in this game, and they always are when they play with these teams, but two of the top defenders in the nation. But in the end, the South is too much for the North. This is the 6th year in a row. 3 times in that span, the South has scored over 20 goals. We saw the Hill Academy of Ontario and Darien finish 1 and 2 in the polls. Are we 100% sure right now that the North really holds the edge over the South in lacrosse?
It's hard, if you're judging on this game, it's hard to say it is, but it's that way. But you know, the thing I take out of this game is that you know, well, besides the fact that the sport of lacrosse is alive and well in all these areas, you look at the FCAC to put five kids on a team of 22. You're talking about almost a quarter of the team is from the conference. I mean, that's a big statement as to the play of Connecticut lacrosse and of the FCAC. You know, we've talked before, they're not ducking any of these teams. Darien, New Canaan, Greenwich, Ridgefield, they've all been playing great programs over the course of the last few years, and you know, it just shows you how strong FCAC lacrosse is. And you know, it's still debatable whether Darien should be number 2 or number 1 in the country right now, because they had just an incredible season and they took on all comers.
This is no disrespect to the Hill Academy. They had an absolutely tremendous year. They finished undefeated. The key phrase in your sentence that you just said to me was "in the country."
Yes.
That's where I struggle, where Darien doesn't get the nod as number 1. But you make a great point that the FCAC does produce that many players to play in this kind of game. There were 7 players from Connecticut, which matched any other state for the most, with New York and New Jersey also producing 7. And we talked yesterday on the show, New Canaan's Eclipse Lacrosse Club just produced a team that went out to the Youth World Series of Lacrosse presented by Warrior and Coca-Cola, which also speaks to not just the New Canaan program, but again, it's Fairfield County and the state of Connecticut, that group of kids being able to go out there and compete the way they did. Yeah,
you had 3 Darien kids, you had 6 New Canaan kids, and I believe 6 or 7 from Greenwich, a couple from Fairfield. So yeah, it was really good. It's a good grouping there, and it's spread out across the FCAC. So it'll be interesting to see how those kids develop and when they get to play in these big rivalries, when they get to the league.
And that was something we also commented on. And you've been around New Canaan, Darien for so long. You can remember when I was playing there that we did not know any of the kids from Darien other than, oh, this is a guy who I've played football against for the last 3 years. It's very unique with lacrosse now how these kids grow up together, and the respect that remains for the rivalry. We saw the fight for the cure back on April 30th and how both sides helped out with that. And it really is amazing to see the game transition this way.
Yeah, these kids are very familiar with each other. They're friends with each other. They just know how things are going with each other. And you know, years ago that might not have been the way, but now it's, you know, with all these tournaments they're playing in, with these teams they play for, like the Eclipse, it's become closer knit family, and I think it's good for the sport.
And of course, there's also the underclassmen Under Armour teams that are put together. They'll have teams from each region that compete in tournaments throughout the summer. Both New Canaan, Darien, Brunswick produced a bunch of players. The names of Nick Cravato, James Cravato, Ryan O'Connell, Jack Holzer, those names surrounding those rosters just from one town. There was Riley Stewart, I believe, from Darien, along with Kevin Lindley. So
those programs will be alive and well next year too. And the guy in that group, I saw him play a lot. The guy who stands out to me is Nick Cravato. Just finished the season just tremendously and was a big plus for the Rams.
And what's most interesting about Cravato is he is that true face-off, get-off player. He is only a sophomore, but as you said, he had a lot of success throughout the conference against the likes of Bailey Sevillo, Tanner Strube, who's another sophomore, and will continue to push Cravato. But you're right, the state of both these programs, the conference is so strong right now, trending in the right direction, and it's very good to see the way this game is growing.
I feel like face-offs too have become so, obviously it's always been a specialty, but it's become so focused now. It's almost like a bullpen in baseball. It's you have the specialist doing, this one thing and another one doing that. I feel like with the face-offs, they've learned that these kids know so much about the technicalities of facing off, and it's just getting better and better every game.
And you're right, and it's a position that D1 schools, top-tier programs, will recruit a player just for that position. They will recruit you to play 3 seconds at a time for 20 times a game.
It's one of the most important things on the field. I mean, obviously, if you don't have the ball, you can't score. It puts more pressure on your defense. So if you've got a guy who can just get you the ball and you can possess for a while, even if you don't come away with a goal, you've gained so much from that. And these guys are reaping the benefits of that.
We offer our congratulations to all the Under Armour All-Americans, both under and upperclassmen. We wish the graduating seniors success in their upcoming journeys to these D1 schools. We'll take one more break here on Nutmeg Sports, but when we return, we'll be joined by defensive coordinator and the co-founder of the National Select 7-on-7 Grip and Rip It tournament, Chris Silvestri from New Canaan High School, right here on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Keep your future star active and happy this summer at Future Stars Sports Academy camps and clinics. The Academy is offering sessions throughout Fairfield County. Sign up for a week of basketball, cheerleading, football, or a multi-sports camp. At Future Stars Academy, children learn the fundamentals while under the supervision of qualified coaches. And what sets the Academy apart is its special Lessons of Life sessions, teaching values and focusing on building self-esteem, friendships, and honesty. Located at Sports Center Connecticut in Shelton and in Sports in Trumbull. Register online at FutureStarsSportsAcademy.com.
Warm weather, light breezes, boats are in the water. There's no better place to celebrate summer than the Dock Shop. Whether in Darien at 51 Tokenique Road or Westport at 609 Riverside Avenue, the Dock Shop is where you'll find everything you need to kick off summer. From the latest summer apparel to the newest fishing tackle, the Dock Shop will help you get the most out of your next beach day or harbor cruise. At the Dock Shop, you'll find a wonderful selection of items made in the USA and right here in New England, all with a distinct nautical flair. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the coastal lifestyle, this is a unique place to shop. DockShop.com.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office. I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper.
And we welcome you back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Frank Granito, Dave Stewart live in the studio. Joining us via the phone right now is the defensive coordinator of the New Canaan High School football program and the co-founder of the National Select 7-on-7 Grip It and Rip It tournament, Chris Silvestri. Coach, thanks for taking time with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Coach, this will be the fourth year, I believe, you guys host this tournament, and we've seen it grow so much over that. What is it that makes this tournament so successful for you guys?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been 4 or 5 years, actually. I'm not quite sure about time. It seems like it comes up pretty quick every year. But, it's been a very successful tournament. I think it stems from the teams that we have. We have teams from the tri-state area. We have teams that have come in from Massachusetts, upstate New York. We even have a team from Quebec, Canada come in. And they make a weekend out of it, and there's a lot of real good competition going on, a lot of real good football players, and just the competition and the level of play has really far surpassed our expectations. And it's one of those kind of factions that keep growing every year, the 7-on-7 and just different ways to play football year round. It's really, become a growing influence in the sport. And that's really what makes that grow every year.
Coach, Dave Stewart here. Tell me what the benefit is for the skill kids, because I feel like that with them running routes and everything, that tends to benefit them for the fall.
Sure. Football is a team sport, and it's not an individual sport. And I know that certain names get thrown out there, but everybody has a job on the field. And if you can get all of the individuals on the same page, understanding how each other works. Not every receiver runs the routes the same way. Not every quarterback throws the passes at the same time. Even the defensive backfield must communicate with each other, and they work together to communicate and try to get in the right positions. And that's really what benefits the skill players, is how to work with one another. How to, each team has their own real personality, and this is where they find that personality. Who runs which routes well? Who can we count on to catch the ball? Who can we count on to cover the big wide receiver, and what kind of coverages work against that? Those are the things that really benefit the skill guys when we go into these 7-on-7 tournaments.
Coach, I know there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot of effort from a lot of the New Canaan staff, but there is one coach in particular from the wrong side of the merit, Coach Johnny Marinelli, who does so much to help out. Can you speak to the Can you speak to the magnitudes of what he does to help make this tournament successful?
Well, Johnny really is the whole brains and behind this tournament. I mean, this is a year-round thing for him. He's the main person behind this tournament and getting it to where it is. He's put countless hours into it. He connects with all the coaches. He's year-round talking to the coaches. How do we make it better? He looks at the 7-on-7 rules to see what's going to make our tournament better in the long run. His staff comes and helps out, just like the New Canaan staff does. And we really, both our staffs, the Greenwich and the New Canaan staff, work together hand in hand at one time of the year to really get this tournament off the ground and running. And he is the reason behind most of the success of this New Canaan 7-on-7 tournament. I know that Lou put it together, I think, back in 2007 or 2008. And it's grown from there. And I think John kind of took the reins of that somewhere in 2011, 2012, and grew it to where it is. Again, it is held at New Canaan High School, but John really spends most of the year-round, trying to get these coaches committed, trying to get the teams committed, trying to just make all the fine-tunings of the tournament, the scheduling, even the hotels that teams from far away can stay at. He does all the legwork behind that, and he is the main reason why this tournament's so successful.
Coach, I looked at the pools, and the thing that stood out to me the most on here is New Canaan's in the same pool on Dunning Field with Darien. Tell me about being able to see Darien again in a 7-on-7 format.
Well, I don't know the first day. Even though we're, I think, on the same field, I'm not sure if we play them.
Okay.
We may play them on the second day, but they are certainly on our field that first day down at Dunning Stadium with, I believe, another 10 teams. And I'm not sure if we're going to see them, but I guess they just won a Fordham tournament, so they're riding high. I know that they've got things really going over there down the road, and that's a tribute to Rob and his staff and what they've been able to build the past couple of years. But it'll be interesting to see how well they do here. This is the premier tournament in the area, and I'd like to see Canaan does. I'd love to see how Darien does. I even like to see how Greenwich will do. I know Greenwich has a real up-and-coming team this year as well.
Now, Coach, a non-Connecticut team won last year. There are, I believe, 6 or 7 FCX teams in the field for the tournament right now. What are the odds we could see one of those teams playing that last game on Saturday?
Oh, I think it's real. I think it's a real possibility. First of all, most of the FCX teams have some sort of connection with 7-on-7. Not from a year-round perspective, but certainly maybe starting in the spring and in the summer they'll go to tournaments. So the idea of 7-on-7 is not going to be it's not going to be foreign to them. So if you have some 7-on-7 tournaments or play under your belt, you'll probably be a little bit more seasoned at this event. And those FCX teams, I can mention, New Canaan, Darien, Greenwich, Stanford has come to these tournaments, have done very well. Most of those teams are going to be somewhat seasoned at the 7-on-7. I wouldn't be surprised at all if you see, one of the FCX teams. I think Darien made it to the semifinals last year, and those teams do pretty well in these types of tournaments.
Well, Coach, we want to thank you for taking time out of your day. We know you guys have got to start getting ready for the tournament. We appreciate you coming on, and we wish you all the luck both this weekend and moving forward in the season.
Yeah, no problem. We really certainly look forward to having you guys come down and cover the event. And, you know where we are. You're welcome to come on anytime. Talk to any of the players. We're really looking forward to having all the teams down and really looking forward to hosting the event again.
All right. Thanks again, Coach.
Thanks, Chris.
Was Chris Silvestri, the defensive coordinator from New Canaan High School and a co-founder with Greenwich head coach Johnny Marinelli of the National Select 7-on-7 Grip It and Rip It tournament. Dave, we'll be down there this weekend covering it. We'll interview players and coaches on Friday, have coverage of the semifinals and finals on Saturday. What do you expect to see? Let's start with from the FCX teams at least.
Well, it's going to be fun. A lot of them are going to be taking a look at what they have coming back this year or what they're looking to replace for this year. Darien graduated a lot of seniors, a great senior athletic senior class. New Canaan's looking to replace their all-everything quarterback, Michael Collins. So they're going to be looking at that. So it's going to be interesting in that it's a strong competition, but it's also people, maybe playing for more playing time or playing for jobs on a team and getting a first look at, what's coming in the fall. So it'll be interesting to see New Canaan, Darien, Greenwich. I think it was mentioned here that they have a good, strong team coming back this year, and obviously with Johnny Marinelli there, they have a great coach. And teams like Trinity, Norwalk, St. Joe's, they also have potential this year. Trinity had a great year last year, and we'll see what they have coming back.
And it should be a much more balanced conference this year compared to what we saw last year. I think St. Joe's has a bounce-back year. Norwalk will definitely compete. Trinity will have Alfano coming over from Greenwich, can help that squad out a lot. Greenwich, then you think about year 2 of Johnny Marinelli. How do they respond and what is next for this program? Darien coming off the win at Fordham. But maybe the story of the weekend, are we getting our first look at Drew Pine at New Canaan?
That could be it. And like I said, New Canaan's looking to replace Michael Collins. They haven't committed to any particular quarterback yet. And I'm sure it's going to be kind of our first look at him in a competition, environment here. And it'll be neat to see what he can do. I've heard great things about his arm, and we'll see how he responds. And they have a couple of other kids out there that'll be vying for time too. And it'll be interesting to see if New Canaan has a freshman quarterback step in.
It will be interesting. It'll be a lot of fun. Again, we'll start coverage 2 o'clock on Friday from New Canaan High School. We hope coaches and players will join us up in Hawes Plaza right around 2:30. I want to thank Dave Stewart for joining me on today's show. Really appreciate it, Dave.
It'll be fun, first time, and we'll keep it going. We'll keep it going this weekend with the 7-on-7. It's a great tournament. If you're a football fan, this is a place to be.
32 teams will be there. There'll be one champion on Saturday. We'll have that championship game for you. For Dave Stewart, I'm Frank Granito. Thank you for turning in. Don't forget, 11 a.m. tomorrow, coffee break with Kate Chaplinski right here on the HAN Network.